Let's try this again. I think it's working now. I just talked for 5 minutes, and I don't think anybody could hear me. Um, so let me. So we are at a week of Lent. We are a weekend, and Lent is a time where we have the great opportunity to. At a week. It's working now. Where we have the great opportunity to depend on God, to depend on Jesus for everything. We talked this past Sunday about the temptation of Jesus. Jesus, he was tempted as he went into his 40-day kind of Lent, his 40-day wilderness season, and he was tempted in the areas of hunger and appetite, the areas of success and accolades, in the area of power and control. And these are three temptations that I think we all face, and probably we gravitate towards one of the three that is more of a temptation for us than the others. And that's where the enemy is going to try to get us. And so Lent is a great season to admit that we've failed in those areas, to admit that we are tempted, and then ask God to come more fully in our presence. And so that's why we fast. That's why we give up for Lent. That's why we take time to focus on Jesus during this time. And so last Wednesday, on Ash Wednesday, we got our ashes, the cross on our heads, to remember that we are dust, and to dust we shall return, that we are mortal humans, that we are called to depend on God. And all of our readings and devotionals that I recommended, if you're doing any of those, point us to that idea of depending upon God throughout Lent. And so it's about dependence. It's about setting aside so that we can more fully depend on God. And so I hope throughout Lent that you're not just, fasting from something, but you're also adding something like a prayer time, like entering in. We are canceling our Lenten dinner this evening because of the big snowstorm. But I would encourage you to make it a practice throughout Lent to come to our Lenten dinners, to come to service on Sunday morning, to engage in that, to be a part of our community here at St. Paul's, but then also to make sure that you are creating space in your life to pray and to meditate and to be with God. I think one of the key things that at least God is calling me to, and I think I want to encourage you to enter into, is just to enter into silence, to make silence as a practice. And maybe that's your add-on practice, if you will, during Lent, is you just take a few moments, even if it's just 5 minutes, to silence yourself, to quiet yourself before God, because it's in the silence that God's presence comes to us. It's in the silence that he speaks. It's in the silence that he dwells. And so as we enter into the silence, we get to experience God. And so it's, turning off these devices and turning off our watches, turning off, everything digital and the television, and finding a place where we can quiet ourselves away from friends and family and just get alone with the living God. And so that is a huge practice of Lenten spirituality. And we've reached the point, if you're like me, where we're one weekend. And so, you get a lot of energy from the first few days of your fast. You're excited about it. And then this is where it really, the new routines and rhythms really set in, where you might be tempted to give up on your Lenten fast. You might be tempted to give in. And I'd encourage you just to stick it out, that we are doing this for a purpose, that our why is to connect with God, to connect with the living God. And so I want to take a minute now to just pray a prayer. I know that many of us are going through stressful times, stressful seasons. Life can be very stressful. And so I want to read this poem, this prayer, that encourage us to quiet ourselves, to listen to God. And it's entitled, this prayer poem is called, I Need to Breathe Deeply. And so I'm going to close this week's Lenten Spirituality time with this prayer. Eternal friend, grant me an ease to breathe deeply of this moment, this light, this miracle of now. Beneath the din and fury of great movements and harsh news and urgent crises, make me attentive still to good news, to small occasions, and the grace of what is possible for me to be, to do, to give, to receive, that I may miss neither my neighbor's gift nor my enemy's need. Precious Lord, grant me a sense of humor that adds perspective to compassion, gratitude that adds persistence to courage, quietness of spirit that adds irrepressibility to hope, openness of mind that adds surprise to joy, that with gladness of heart I may link arm and aim with the one who saw signs of your kingdom in salt and yeast, pearls and seeds, travelers and tax collectors, sowers and harlots, foreigners and fishermen, and who opens my eyes with these signs and my ears with the summons to follow to something more of justice and joy. Amen. Go in grace and peace, and happy Lent.